Welcome to Brand Innovators Behind the Brand. In this series, we'll be visiting marketing leaders across the country at their brand headquarters for an exclusive interview. Today we're in Detroit at the Cadillac Live Studio, where we'll get an exclusive interview with the Cadillac brand team. We're excited to hear from Marcie Perez, Director, Cadillac Brand Experience, Eric Neville, Associate Director, Performance Marketing, and Tony Johnson, Director of Cadillac Brand and Vehicle Marketing. Our interview today will be conducted by Jeannine Shao Collins, Chief Client Officer at Kargo. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Jeannine Shao Collins, Chief Client Officer of Kargo. And at Kargo, we believe in the art of ad tech and innovation, and we're so proud to be part of the brand innovators behind the brand series. And I get to talk to these rock star marketers at Cadillac, and because they're all about innovation. And I have to say that I am the most popular mom today because my son thinks Cadillac is the coolest. And when I told him I was coming here, he was absolutely out of his mind. So it's really exciting to be able to talk to these folks. And I want to introduce Eric Neville, Marcie Perez, and Tony Johnson. And they all have great backgrounds, very interesting backgrounds that bring great innovation to this brand here at the Cadillac Studios in Detroit. And so let's start with Eric. Eric, your title is the Associate Director of Performance Marketing, and you were in analytics before analytics and data were the cool thing.
I was, yes.
And now you're bringing it to Cadillac. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, so I'm responsible for media, social media, brand entertainment events, and Tier 3 advertising, right? So connecting the dots across the brand. And more than ever, analytics is at the forefront of marketing, right? We constantly measure everything we do, and we also are very audience focused. So I also have an audience modeling background prior to analytics, and it's really bringing it all together to make sure that our channels are activating at 100%, and measurement's more important than ever.
And analytics are key. What did you say earlier about analytics?
We are analytics addicted.
Analytics addicted. I love that. And that's one of the secret sauces for this brand success. And Marcie, your title is Marcie Perez, Director of Cadillac Brand Experience, and your journey to get here has been quite unique. It's almost like the culmination of all your experiences are coming here, and you're an incredible entrepreneur and risk taker. So can you tell us a little bit about your job and how you got here?
Yeah, so I've done a little bit of everything over the years, and I am fortunate enough to work now here at Cadillac. And my experiences really allowed me to pull together from past previous jobs and roles and brands to really pull together what that means for Cadillac. So here at GM, we've got a lot of enterprise teams, a lot of really great solutions. My role is to make sure that there's a brand lens over all of that, ensuring that our customers' expectations are met in an elevated way across all of our digital platforms, our CRM communications, all personalization, and partnerships. And so really kind of drawing on all of my past experiences to make sure that there's consistency across all the touch points from the beginning of your shopping journey all the way through ownership. So happy to be here and especially at a very exciting time that as we transition.
That's great. And it's kind of like a fate thing almost that you're here. I mean, it's incredible. So Tony Johnson, who is the Director of Cadillac Marketing, and you've had a different journey and a different experience that you're bringing to Cadillac, having started as an engineer and an MBA, and now coming over to the marketing side. And I would love to hear about your journey because it's very unusual.
It is, yeah. You know, like all 20-year-olds, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I started out as an engineer, started at the company that way, but I got my MBA, and there I discovered my passion for all things customer and storytelling, and use that to kind of move my way around the company, get some different experiences and different marketing opportunities. And then, of course, the opportunity came to go work for Cadillac, which is an amazing opportunity, a very pivotal time for the brand, very exciting time for the brand. And so that's where I find myself today, as we make our big transition here into fully EV lineup, but then also transitioning who we are as a brand, how we show up, how we come to market, whether it's our Viz ID, whether it's telling the story of all these amazing products we see around us here today. I couldn't ask for a better role, and just really excited to be here.
That's great. So let's talk about Cadillac as a brand. Who is your audience and what is your approach? And Marcie, I mean, you were talked a little about your journey and how you're have the brand consistently through all channels. Can you talk a little about the Cadillac brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think to Eric's point, audience is always first in everything that we do. And so really truly understanding that audience and who we're speaking to. We've got a truly entrepreneurial maverick type of audience that likes to kind of stand out and set themselves apart from the crowd. They're not just doing what everybody else is doing. They really want to make those bold statements. So I think it's important as anything that we do across all of our marketing tactics, we're always taking a look at that. So, Eric's targeting them in very smart ways and tactical ways. We're personalizing all of our web experiences, our app experiences, our in-car digital technology experiences, right? I mean, Tony's storytelling is really drawing on the insights and the motivations that drive our audiences so that everything that we do is really relevant. And I mean, as we're going through this change of all EV and all, new technologies and everything, I think it's really important just to bring that in a very relatable way for people to understand. And I think that's all part of what we're charged here with, and making that feel really exciting and optimistic and everything that we do, so that people want to be a part of our journey with us. So
well, it seems to be working. So
it's a good
congratulations.
time right
That's
now.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of creative and the creative messaging and your approach, talk about how advertising tells the Cadillac story.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the product, right? And that's something that we really lean into with our heritage. Cadillac has always stood for these very bold products, very bold designs, and that's something that we pull through in all of our creatives. So whether it's the color treatments, we use a lot of bold colors, it's the confident, optimistic voice that we use, and then it's just this notion of eliciting this visceral response from people, right? We want people to get up and dance when they see our spots, when they hear our stories.
I love that.
And we talk about Cadillac really as being sort of your walk-up music. It's a term we use a lot, right? That when you show up in a Cadillac and get out of the vehicle, it's kind of like your walk-up music. We had the All-Star game last night, if anybody watched it, right? The players get up to the plate and you can see that swagger. That's something we want people to feel when they get out of their Cadillac. And we want that same response that comes from the creative and the storytelling we do with our advertising.
It's interesting, if I can add on to that, because years ago we used to talk about that swagger, and there is a certain feeling that you feel after driving a Cadillac or coming down the street in a Cadillac. You're getting noticed, and it's that feeling that, like, I want to dance, I want to feel excited, that Tony so he described so well. I think it's who we are, and it's that really celebratory feeling of, man, I have a Cadillac, and that's like
I've
what
arrived,
we're trying to.
right?
Yeah, you've arrived.
I love
Exactly, and I think that it's you've done a great job on the recent works.
Well, it's working. I mean, the young people I know think that it's the coolest brand out there, and for an iconic brand that's over 100 years old, I mean, that is a feat. Can you talk a little bit about the culture? Your one team is a big part of your work. I mean, all three of you, like, you can feel how you guys are really unified. I mean, you guys finish each other's sentences, you know what each other are doing, but yet you have different responsibilities. Can you talk about the culture of, what's behind the brand?
Yeah, I think one thing is authenticity, not only in the brand itself, but also in the culture that we have. We do a workplace of choice survey, and my favorite question is, can you bring your authentic self to work? Right, and that's powerful, right? It's a lot of people have this persona when they go to work, and we're all about bringing our authentic self to work. So it allows us to just perform differently and do different things.
To be yourself,
it is,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
There is a lot of respect, I think, in diversity of thought. Whether it's different backgrounds, different people from other countries, different races, sexual orientation, whatever. I mean, as a team, we are really truly a nice blend of a little bit of everything, and everybody really respects the opinions that everybody brings to the table. So I think it does allow just like a safe space of, you're okay here, and we do have a fail forward culture, and we celebrate failure. So there isn't that pressure of needing to succeed and get it exactly right every time, because
right?
Every month we have a big fail, and every month we say, what was the big fail this month? And we all kind of laugh about it, and we're like, okay, great. What did we learn though, right? And I think out of all of those failures and all of that learning, right, you start to feel like you can be your authentic self, and it's okay.
Risks.
You can take risks.
That's awesome.
And that's okay, and you're not going to be reprimanded for a mistake. metrics do matter, and we are, addicted, but in a safe way and in a collaborative way.
That's great. And Tony, what's your thought on culture?
There's a real one-team mindset. You touched on this, right? I think there's a realization among all of us and our teams that none of us can do our job without each other, right? Mm-hmm. There's the age-old question of, does creative drive media or does media drive creative? And the answer is, of course, yes, right? There's a healthy balance between the two, and there's some times where one drives the other. But if Eric and I aren't talking, or if Marcie and I aren't talking, there's not going to be the synergy across our work, and the plan is going to be inefficient and it's going to fall apart. So we all realize that, and our teams are super tight on it every day.
Yeah. You can feel the chemistry among the three of you, and I'm sure it permeates throughout the whole organization. As far as advertising channels, mm-hmm. and what do you rely on? And it's so dynamic, and it's changing, and it's fragmented. I mean, tell me about how you approach that.
We talked a little bit about audience, and really what we focus on is one-to-one a lot. So we can find people in every channel. And there's no one channel to reach everybody. So it's about making sure that we're targeted. We do leverage every channel. We're on addressable TV. Everything we do is addressable based or powered by our audiences. So whether we're activating on TV or selecting which tentpole events we're going to activate at, like US Open, for example, it's all driven by data on our audience. And we do a lot of testing as well. Right. And we measure everything we do.
That's the analytics addicted part, right?
That is.
Okay.
Yeah, and we push all of our audiences into our media mix modeling. We do custom studies on attitudinal behavior. So all of our media is measured across the board.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a job. That's a lot.
It is a job.
So good for you, Eric.
Yeah,
that's
great.
Great.
Why we have team people doing it.
Well, I mean, and we talked a little bit, touched about how Cadillac is such an iconic brand. I mean, it has incredible history. How do you balance the history of Cadillac with, the new innovation, the new users? I mean, that's a talent.
It is, right? It's a privilege to work for a brand with that much history, because there's definitely a sense of who you are that comes from that. Our storied history, 120-year history that you touched on, has been very consistently about being bold, being innovative, being luxurious. And so having that as our foundation really gives us just this amazing base to build off of as we move the brand forward. So now we've got all these values, we know what we stand for, we can be authentic about that, and then we take that and grow it from there into new technologies like Super Cruise, which is the best hands-free driving system in the industry, or the amazing Celestiq, which is just the epitome of bespoke right now. But it's all building off of that heritage and then taking it into the next level here.
Yeah, I mean, your marketing is bold, the tech is bold, the product is bold. I mean, it's awesome, and you feel it. That's great. As far as new things you've tried and creative formats, do you want to talk a little about like some of the risks you take, what's worked, what hasn't worked? Marcie, do you want to take
Sure,
that?
yeah. I mean, I think in a digital landscape, we've done quite a bit. I think the studio we're sitting in today
it's awesome.
Is a great example
I feel very coordinated.
Yes, very on brand. No, I think, we started, this is Cadillac Live Studio, and it started as a pilot in Canada. We brought it to the US to be on our headquarters so that we could bring new products, we could bring engineers and experts, anybody really, to celebrate the vehicles and show them to customers in a way where from an online platform you can call in and you see the vehicles, you get demonstrations, but the agents can't see you. You see them, they can't see you. So it launched really, I would say, in a bigger effort right around COVID when people needed people. And so it was great as our dealerships, had to close for various reasons. Cadillac Live always existed. And so people could call in, they could talk, they could see, they could get all their questions answered so that, really we were there for even our owners, just as I have a question, I don't know how to use this. So it's one of our innovations, I think, that has been a true success. I think
during a really difficult time.
During a very difficult time, yeah. And so it's continued. I mean, it's a hugely engaging platform, and I think our customers really find a lot of value in having that as an opportunity for them. But clearly there are fails too, right? And we've done a lot, I think, just testing, former media roles in, things like a 24 hours here at Live, we thought that would be a great idea for a launch. And unfortunately, no one has 24 full hours to dedicate to our channel. So it was a lot of work and it was a lot of coordination. And to all the production people out there, you can probably respect really what it takes to fill 24 hours of content. It was quite a lift, and we learned that 24 hours is probably too much, but we tried, and we know now that if you're going live, keep that a little shorter in nature, and the content can be richer in nature too. So there's a lot. I know ad formats and things I'll let Eric speak to, and creative, I know we've done a lot as well.
Yeah, do you want to touch about that?
Yeah, so ad formats, we've tested a lot with streaming audio. We've tested a lot with social influencers as well, and actually leveraging social influencers to drive in market and real-time shopping. Speaking of Cadillac Live, we've actually created ads surrounding Cadillac Live and put them onto endemic sites.
Wow.
So you link directly in from the endemic sites to Cadillac Live versus coming to Cadillac.com.
Wow, so you're really closing the loop, full funnel solutions.
Full funnel, yep.
Love it.
Yeah.
And Tony?
On the creative front, we're testing every day. We talked about how we're in this transition, really establishing our visual identity. And so if you take a look back at some of the creative we've done, starting with Never Stop Arriving, that started to sort of lean into this visual identity. Fortune Favors the Fearless, which was our lyric launch work, started to dip deeper into that. And then Colors of Emotion, which was a great partnership piece we did with Labyrinth, really started to dive into that, and it was all working really, really well. And we said, hey, let's see how far we can push this, right? You don't know where the edge is until you push to find it. And so
Take the risk.
with our latest spring retail, it was called Enter the Ordinary, Exit Extraordinary. We pushed the boundaries really far, and we were all a little uncomfortable doing it, which is, in my view, a good thing. And we found the edge. We found the cliff, and we said, through research and whatnot, this is probably a little too far. We moved away from aspirational with our customers into something that they didn't see. But now we know, and that's the benefit of it, right? That's the beauty of working for a brand like Cadillac, is we have the freedom to push boundaries, find that edge, and then back off of it. And now we know where we are and where we need to be.
Well, that's the pinnacle of innovation, right? Is like being able to take those risks, right? Because innovation really, inherently, that's what it's all about. So that's awesome. And as far as what advice would you give to other brands? Because you guys have enjoyed incredible success that for a historic brand. I mean, what would you say to other people in our business?
One, work with your partners, right? A lot of the firsts that we've done have been things partners have brought to us, right? Cargo being one of them. Yeah. So, we're constantly out there meeting with different people, having different conversations, and, again, the mindset of fail forward, don't be afraid to test, right?
Okay.
But make sure you have the measurement there to do it.
That's great.
So.
And I would say, stay true to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Know your customers, know who you are as a brand.
That's your culture, right?
Be authentic, right? I think when you have authenticity, it's believable and it's real, because it is. And so I think, as another brand, find that point of who you are and just run with it. You'll find your edge.
Yeah, I mean, similar, right? It's our mantra, be bold. We always put that filter over everything we do. Whenever we look at new work or new approaches to putting that work out there, we ask ourselves, is it bold? And if the answer is no, we push it a little further and see where that edge is. So don't be afraid of the cliff. You can find the cliff and then pace yourself back, and that's how you find the right spot to be in.
Don't be afraid of the cliff. I'm going to use that with my kids.
Yeah.
I like that. So now let's talk about success. What does success look like for you moving forward? I mean, I think you were saying in our conversation that there's no normal anymore, right? And there's so much innovation, and the next 5 years it's going to change that much faster. I mean, what will success look like for you moving forward?
One, right, we're in the business of selling cars, so we need to continue to sell. We measure through to closed loop, so we're going to keep doing that. But it's also important to build a brand. And we've spent a lot of time internally having conversations about, what does demand generation look like? And everyone thinks of demand as lower funnel, but demand is upper funnel. So we need to make sure that we're out there, we're talking about the brand, we're telling these amazing stories about the brand and inspiring people. So we need to continue to do that.
That's good. And how about you, Marcie?
I would say, honestly, it's for me in a customer experience role, it's all about advocacy, right? I think customer satisfaction and loyalty that builds advocacy is ultimately like the
And
true testament.
personalization's key to that,
It
correct?
is. It is. Personalization, knowing your customer, giving them what they deserve, right? What they expect, what they want, and surprising them along the way with things they didn't know they even
Delight
wanted or
them,
needed,
right?
right? So I think there's all about that customer satisfaction in it, and it's in everything that we do, in every experience that we create. You know, whether it's your website working and you find the exact answer you're looking for, or you're delighted because there's this really cool tool that you didn't know you could play with, or you know, in the vehicle, making sure that your in-app technology is synced up with your in-vehicle technology, and making that cohesive experience where life is just easy, and we're actually making your day-to-day easier with all the things that the car can do. I think all of that just, it almost makes you feel like you don't want to live without it. You could, but you don't want to, right? So you're going to keep coming back. And I think that's truly, you know, long term, the definition of success for the work that I'm doing.
That's great. Loyalty, right?
Loyalty,
That's
yeah.
great. And then Tony, I mean, you know, we're all going to the edge. What is success like, you know, so you don't fall off?
Yeah. For me, it's about creating passionate customers who are passionate about our brand, right? There's a lot of brands that succeed with customers who, you know, like the brand but are not exactly passionate about it. I think what we stand for is, you know, just creating this visceral, emotional response from our customers, optimistic, and really pulling on that string and creating that feeling for our customers. So, in a nutshell, like, I want more of your son spread across the world
you
here.
got
right?
one. You know, he can't afford it yet, but he's going to get one as soon as he can. You know, he really, it's amazing. And you know, what I think in my one-person focus group family, the brand is resonating. It's working. Because, I mean, an 18-year-old who's like, thinks Cadillac is the coolest car, I mean, what a testament, right? So, well, I really have enjoyed talking to these rock stars. Cadillac is an incredible, incredible brand, an incredible story. I thank Brand Innovators for inviting us all here. And this has just been fun. I hope that we get to do it again sometime.